the receiving school students and teachers.
Good morning, Mrs. Patakas.
How are you all this morning?
We are very well, thank you, and how are you?
I'm very well, just like you all. Thank you. You may be seated. Class, the receiving school students and teachers, this morning we have a visitor with us in the classroom, and I'd like to give just 3 minutes or so for our visitor to introduce himself.
My name is Sugiyama. Sugiyama, can you pronounce? Sugiyama, or call me Sugi in short. This is my first time to come not only this classroom but also this country. I have arrived here on Sunday. This is my third day. My occupation is a science education specialist. I have been invited to improve their model lessons for especially science. And as I said, this is my only third day, so I just moving around, looking around, and finding the situation. So I'm now very looking forward to observing your lessons. So please feel free and concentrate your lessons. Okay, go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sugiyama, if I am correct in pronouncing the name. Students in the receiving school, you will see more of him probably when he comes around to your schools starting next year. He will be helping with the grade 8 science next year. We get back to our lesson. Previous lesson we had a look at plan of action, plan of action, and we also looked at factors or things to consider when planning action plans or when planning out whatever we have to do in preparation for projects. Now I'd like someone from the class to tell us what an action plan is. What is an action plan? We have Shane, thank you. What is an action plan?
An outline of activities listed in a sensible order of doing in order to achieve a purpose.
Very good, thank you. Now in this action plan, there are factors or there are things that you have to consider or you have to think about when you are actually writing out a plan or writing out or listing out activities that you have to do in whatever you plan to do. Now, if I can have someone to give us the first one. One of the things that you have to consider when you are planning. Yes, we have Messi, please.
What will the project look like?
Very good. What will the project look like? Thank you. We have William.
What size will it be?
What size will it be? Thank you. Violet, please.
Where will the resources come from?
Where will the resources you need for the project come from? Thank you. Any more? Okay, let's go to Paul.
What needs to be bought and can you afford it?
Very good, thank you. So those are the factors, if I have missed out or if we have missed out any, but those are generally the factors or things that you have to consider or you have to think about when you are making action plans, especially when it's to do with a project. Now we will be completing our action plan. Previous lesson, we started working on the action plan. Now to do action plan, it takes a lot of time. And that is why 2 lessons have been given for action plan. And previous lesson, we started on it. And we are to complete that action plan in this lesson. Now, teachers in the receiving schools, that is what we will be doing. So when the class is working on the action plan, when they are completing the action plan, I would also like you to have your students also to work on the action plan and complete where they have, start from where they have stopped. Now, once again, we had a look at action plan. Somebody in the class has given us the definition or the meaning of what action plan is. And we have it once again on the screen, and I would like to have Daira to read it for us, please. What is an action plan?
An outline of activities listed in a sensible order of doing something in order to achieve a purpose.
Very good, thank you. And we exactly had what Daira has read. Shane shared that with us. We also look once again at the factors. Factors, we had a look at that earlier, and we have it on again on the screen. Let's say Patricia to go through the first one. Read the first one for us, Patricia.
What will the project look like?
What will the project look like? The project that you have in mind, that you plan to do, what will it look like? The shape, the size, and all that. You have to consider that. Let's have Tanabik for the second one. Tanabik.
What size it?
What size will it be? You have to think of the length, the width, and the height of whatever project you are planning to do. Bobby, if we can have you to read the third one for us.
What resources are needed?
What resources are needed? The things that you need to do, whatever project that you have in mind to do or what you have planned to do. Gima, please, the fourth one.
Come from?
Where will resources come from? Where will you get the resources, the things that you need to do the project? Where are you going to get them? Are they going to come from the bush? As a lot of you are receiving schools, you are living in rural areas and you have a bush close to you. So you think about where they will come from. Whether it's going to come from the bush, from the shops, from the sea, from the river, or where. We have Nanadai, please, the fifth one. Read it for us quickly.
What needs to be bought and can you afford it?
Now, there are some things that you can get from the environment where you live, but the others you cannot get them. So you have to buy them from the shops. You have to think about whether you have enough money. Do you have the money to buy the things that you need or the resources that you need for the project that you plan to do? We have Elisa, please, the last one.
What are the steps in doing the project?
The steps in doing the project. You have to write the steps in order. Which one should come first until you come to the completion of the project that you have planned to do. Now, we had a look at all this in the previous lesson. However, it needs reminding. That's why we just had a look at it again. And I hope if you have missed out some of those factors in the previous lesson, I'd like you to consider that when you are completing the action plan in this lesson. So we will be actually working in our groups again, completing the action plan. And a reminder again, please look at your action plan. If you have missed out some of those factors, I'd like you to consider that and you can rewrite them correctly. So if I can have you to have all your papers should be with you. I'd like you to have all your papers out. If you need a marker, we have the runners to come and get one marker, sticky tape to stick your papers. And please, I'd like everyone in the group to participate, discuss together what you have to write as a group. Don't write there. Only one? Only one, you need one. Okay, yours should be, okay, listen. You already had it down, but at least you are talking together about what. Yeah. Okay. So Elisa is going to present it. Oh no, both of you did. Okay, good. So you can just have a look at it through and talk about it together. You're supposed to be sitting here. Come over here. You okay now? Okay, let me see. Good, but you made it very long, which means you have to reach up high and put it up so it's all captured. So how many are going to present? One person or two? William and... Okay. Now listen up. When it's presentation, I'd like to see that you have a boy and a girl. It's not good to have two girls from one group or two boys from one group presenting. We have to have a boy and a girl from each group. Okay, let's see yours. Oh, that's the one you did already. Nice. So you are going to have you and Daira and Tanabi. Okay, good. Who? Shane. Make up your mind who is going to present your lesson. From your group, who is going to present it? What? It has to be a girl and a boy. Okay, don't forget me. So you decide now who should. Okay, let's see. Who? Bobby and? No? What? You and Rico. Okay, good. Yeah. It's up to you to decide. Because I'd like to have boy and girl. So you decide. What's that?
Do I have to go with the boy or just myself I go up?
It's okay. There's no need for you to go with another. Probably like others, they may have written so much, so they want to have two from the group. But with yours, you can go and do it, present it yourself, okay? Now listen, class. When you come to present, when you are presenting your activity, please, I'd like to see that you don't go through what you have actually written word by word. Okay, at least you go through it briefly, because I'd like to see every group present whatever you have prepared. Now, to the receiving school teachers, you are supposed to have another lesson, another math lesson after the TV lesson. So please make sure every group presents what they have prepared. Now, if we are ready, I'd like to have the first group. I'd like to have the first group with their action plan. Now, the rest of us are supposed to be what? What are we supposed to be doing? Yeah. You have to listen, see the work they have done, and try to compare with the work that you have done. And also, at the same time, you try to find out whether they have written in all the factors to be considered, please. Okay, we have Helen from group 1.
My group and I have come up with 7 different steps. The first one is we draft. The second one is we check if our all the resources are there. The third one is we can start on our project. Fourth is we dig holes for our stands. Fifth, we measure the timbers, nails, and cut. Sixth, we paint them if we wish, and we leave them to dry. And the final step is we put concrete to the stands and leave them to dry. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Helen. We have the second group, please. Now, second group, we have two. I'd like one of you to tell the rest of the class what you will be actually talking about. Elisa, if you can tell us what you're going to talk about and what Tulanga will talk about.
I'll be talking about the outline of the project, and Tulanga will be talking about the actual project. The project will look like a suitable outdoor seats. It will look attractive and comfortable to sit on. The length of the outdoor seats will be 1.5 meters and the width will be 38 centimeters. All resources will be contributed by the group members.
Thank you. We have Tulanga. Tulanga, if you can come over here.
Drop a draft and get all resources you need. The resources we will need is timber, nails, hammer, and pole.
Here, you have what here? Can use that one to point.
Timber, nails, hammer, and poles. Number 2 is clear the area and dig 2 holes, one on the left and one on the right, about 1.5 meters apart. Number 3 is put poles in the ground and add back the and fam. Number 4 is put across a 1.5 meters timber on the 5 nail both ends of the timber to the pole in the ground. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tulanga has just gone through the steps in making that identified project, which is the outdoor seats. They have their measurement, the size of the seat, and even how it should be made. Thank you. We have the third group, please. Now, all of us are supposed to be looking at the presentation given by our friends and try to see whether they have met all the criteria, especially in the factors that are to be considered when doing action plans.
I'll be talking about the outline of the project, and Bob will be talking about the steps, how to build an outdoor seat. What will the project look like? The seats must be big enough for 4 to 5 people, and also it must be level. As for the size of the seats, width 50 centimeters, length 1.5 meter, and the height 30 centimeters. What resources needed? Here are the resources: timber, nail, tape measure, paintbrush, hammer, spade, cement, sandpapers, and saw. Where will the resources come from? The school can provide for you and your group, or you can provide for yourself and the group. Thank you.
Good, thank you. We have Bobby to just briefly go through the steps.
Steps to consider when building a outdoor seat. Measure the timber before you dig a hole before you place the timbers in the hole you have dug. Make cement and pour it into the hole so that it supports the.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a fourth group to move up quickly, please. Put your paper up so everybody can see it. The mic and the what is there quickly.
I'll be talking about those seats, size, and the resources are natural and factory made.
And number one is dig a hole in the ground. Place the timber into the ground. Number three is put the timbers across. Number four is then nail the timbers. Then outdoor seats are made.
Okay, let's have query quickly.
Resources needed to make a outdoor seats are hammer, nail, saw, spade, and tape measure.
Okay, good, thank you. Let's have the next group to move quickly, please. Okay, we have Edward and Jennifer.
I'll be talking about the operation.
You have the pointer there.
I'll be talking about the operation steps in doing the project, and she'll be talking about the actual project. First, we're gonna make the draft of the project, then get the measurement for the project, and list the resources that we needed, and then ask the school to provide some resources. And if the resources are not limited, then we're gonna bring some from home. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have Jennifer. And group 6, you get ready to move.
Steps in doing the actual project. Up 6 holes about 30 centimeters deep and 15 centimeters wide. Standing the 6 poles firmly into the ground, about 30 centimeters apart. Hammer 3 short timbers on 2 poles. Nail on timbers and 1 inch times 30 centimeter wide timber. Paint the outdoor seat to finish off.
Good, thank you. Group 6, please. Okay, we have Gail and Shane from group 6.
I'm going to be talking about the resources and the steps in doing the project, and Shane is going to be talking about the outline of the project. The resources that are needed in the project are listed here. There are about 6 of them. And the steps in doing them, you dig a hole for the timbers to go in, measure the timbers, and cut them, and place the timbers in the holes that you already digged, and nail the timber across the ones that are in the ground, and clean up, and the project is.
Thank you. Let's have Shane. If you can tell us briefly what you're going to talk about quickly before you go to your...
Of the projects, location of a project, the resources needed, and also the size of the project. Resources will be provided by the school. If the school doesn't help us, then we can provide our own resources. The size of our project will be medium size, 1 meter, 42 centimeters wide. And we're thinking of locating our project underneath the mango trees because it's windy and the place is cool.
Okay, very good, thank you. We have group 7, please. That should be the last group. Let's see if we can. Let me find 2 logs. Aloysia and William from group 7.
I'm just going to talk to you about some brief information for the action plan. Okay, first of all, you find the layout of the project, then find the types of resources needed, where will the resources come from, and what needs to be bought and can it be afforded, like funds, and where can then you can start on the project.
Thank you. Let's have William.
I'll be talking about how to outdoor seats. Step 1, you find the location on where the outdoor seats are going to be built. Step 2, you get the resources needed, such as timber, saw, hammer, nail, and paint. Step 3, you dig the holes. Step 4, measure the timber, saw them together, including the length and width. Step 5, place the timbers into the holes and put cement around it. Step 6, you put the top seat and nail it together. Step 4, Leave it to dry. After it is dried, ready to be seated.
Very good, thank you. You have all done very well, especially with your action plans. Now, I'd like someone to tell me why it is important. Why is it important to plan out or have an action plan of whatever you have to do, especially if it's a project? If I can have someone to share with the rest of us, why is it important to have a plan of action to do whatever you have to do when it's to do with projects? Thank you. We have Shane at the back.
Yeah, it is important to have an action plan so we can consider the things that will be bought, how much we can spend and can we afford it, and also the spacing and area where we're going to build our project, and also the steps in making the actual project. So yeah, it's very important to have an action plan. So with an action plan, we'll know what to do, and it will make our plan. So it will help us complete
to be successful. Very good. Thank you. Good explanation from Shane. So you can see that in making an action plan, just like Shane has said, there are a lot of things that you have to think about. And in order for that project or whatever you have to do to be successful, you have to have an action plan where the action plan guides you to have all the necessary resources that you need before you can get to work on whatever you have to do. Now let's have a look at once again. We just looked through quickly at the factors. Now just looking at some of your action plans, I've seen that some of us have probably at least 2 or 3. We have missed out some of those factors that we were supposed to consider when making the action plan. So I'd like us to go through quickly at the factors or the things to consider when making action plans. So if I can have the first one from Edward, please. If I can have the first one from you. Factors to consider.
What will the project look like?
Thank you. We have Trisha, please, the next one.
What size will it be?
Very good, thank you. Anna, the next one.
What resources are needed?
Good, thank you. Trisha, please, if you can give us the other one.
Where will the resources come?
Good, thank you. Let's say Brendan with the last one.
What are the steps in doing the project?
Very good, thank you. So those are the steps or the factors that you have to consider when you are planning anything, any projects. Now we have, whatever we have gone through, any projects, we have to have a plan of action done. We have done that in the second term when we did a project on a waterlogged area and planting of shrubs. Because it's project, there has to be a plan of action done. Okay, your homework this afternoon when you go home, you are to find out what a sketch mapping is. What is sketch mapping? I'd like you to, probably you can discuss with your friends before you go home, or at home ask your parents to help you to find out what a sketch mapping is. Now if I can have Justin to tell us what our key phrase for our lesson is.
Completion of action plan.
Very good, thank you. Completion of action plan or action plan. Now our next lesson is going to be on sketch mapping. Now a reminder to the receiving school teachers, we won't be doing actual survey in class. So what you have to do, you will tell your children or your students the area that you have identified where they will be constructing the outdoor seats. you let them or give them time to go and do their own survey, and they'll try to find out where these seats can be constructed. And that can help them when we come to the next lesson on sketch mapping. Now with the class here, our area is going to be from the gate, the school gate, okay, the school main gate, around the school office, around the cafeteria, the school cafeteria. So that is going to be the area or the place where we will be constructing the outdoor seats. So class, I would like you to use your own time to do your own survey. So you have a clear picture of where to place those seats when you come to the next lesson on sketch mapping. And with that, good morning class, the receiving school students and teachers for your participation.
Good morning, Mrs. Watangas. And thank you for your lesson.
Receiving schools, here's your reference for the next lesson: strand, substrand, outcome, topic, materials, and reference.